One of the top questions that's being asked about the Scream franchise is, will Sidney be in Scream 7? Of course, it was a disappointment that she wasn't in the sixth movie, but of course the sixth movie still did pretty well. A budget of between $30 and $40 million, box office 169 million, which topped the third, fourth, and fifth movies. Now, according to Screen Rant, which is broken into three major sections here, this says, Neve Campbell's Scream 7 return is way more likely after new announcement. Neve Campbell's return as Sidney Prescott in Scream 7 is way more of a possibility now that it has been announced she won't be returning to a hit TV show. And the show that they're referring to is The Lincoln Lawyer, which is on Netflix. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I've read about it. It seems good. I'll check it out and give a review on that. Scream 6 marked the first installment in the horror franchise that didn't include Sidney Prescott. Despite being the central target of Ghostface in Wes Craven's original Scream trilogy, Campbell's return as Sidney in Scream 4 and Scream 5 was crucial for the plot. Sidney was initially supposed to be involved in Scream 6, but a pay dispute with Paramount Pictures prevented Campbell's role reprisal. With Courtney Cox, the only true legacy character to appear in Scream 6, Campbell's absence was certainly felt. Still, Scream 6 mentioned where Sidney was, and the cast and crew supported Campbell's decision, hoping she could return in the future. Scream 7 has been confirmed with Christopher Landon set to direct, but the cast is currently unclear. Returns from Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega, Jasmine Savoy Brown, and Mason Gooding as the core four are likely, but a significant focus will also be on legacy characters, especially Neve Campbell. The next section says, Neve Campbell leaving Lincoln Lawyer makes her Scream 7 return more likely. Neve Campbell may not have appeared in the sixth movie, but she was involved in two major shows released in 2023. In addition to her role as Raven in Peacock's Twisted Metal adaptation, Campbell returned as Maggie McPherson in The Lincoln Lawyer Season 2. Granted, Maggie's role diminished throughout Season 2, and it was announced Campbell is returning to the show in Season 3 as a main cast member, fueling speculation that she could be booked for other projects, specifically Scream 7. Maggie had a very interesting dynamic with her ex-husband and show lead Mickey Haller throughout the Lincoln Lawyer's first two seasons. It's a shame that she won't be back as a core cast member, but it sounds like she could still appear in a guest capacity. Skip that. And then here's the last section here. Why Neve Campbell's return as Sidney in Scream 7 makes sense. Unless Neve Campbell is attached to other projects yet to be announced, the most reasonable explanation for her Lincoln Lawyer absence would be a return to the Scream franchise. Neve Campbell hasn't ultimately said goodbye to Sidney in the Scream movies, so if the studio agrees to pay her fairly, it's likely that she would return as a character for the seventh movie. New characters might be at the center of the current Scream story, but Neve Campbell will always be the face of the franchise. Scream 6 made a point to mention Sidney's whereabouts, with the character still being protective of her, proving she remains an essential piece of the story, even off-screen. Before Scream 7 was announced, rumors continued to spread regarding Sidney's planned role in Scream 6. There's no reason Sidney couldn't be incorporated into Scream 7, considering she already has a history with Sam, Tara, and the rest of the core four. Sidney is also heavily connected to Gale Weathers and Kirby Reed, who could both return for another sequel, which I also think would be a great idea. A return in Scream 7 could rightfully give Neve Campbell a chance to fully say goodbye to her most impactful role, but on her own terms this time around. While anything can still happen, any updates on Neve Campbell's future won't be confirmed until after the strikes. Now, of course, this article came out a few months ago. This was August, during, when the writers and actor strikes were going on. But even that now, with the strikes being over, finally, there's still no confirmation that she's going to return. And if she does return, then what's going to happen? Will they kill her off, or will she survive again, or what? But if I had to make a prediction, I would say that maybe I'm leaning towards she'll be there. Now, is she going to get killed off? I think it's a little bit early to speculate on that. But, I mean, hey, if you guys have any ideas, I mean, feel free to voice your opinions and theories about it. But I think that there's a good chance that she'll return there. And I think we're going to see the core four. I think we're going to see Gail and Kirby. And, of course, there's other questions like, hey, what about Sam and Tara's mother, Christina? Is there going to be like a long-lost sibling for Sam and Tara? Or maybe even another long-lost sibling for, I don't know, Mindy and Chad, or whatever the case may be. Kirby might have a distant relative, or Gail. You never know. So I'm eagerly and impatiently waiting for Scream 7 to be released. Of course, you know me. I'm a huge Scream fan. I will be there opening weekend. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.